Welcome to Eternal Elements Learning Podcast brought to you by Atyasa Online. These podcasts are a part of the audio certificate programs on Atyasa Online. You're free to take these podcasts on your desired portal also, should you only wish to learn on the go. Thank you so much for engaging on these podcasts, and you can connect with the author on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Welcome back. Hi, this is Niket from Eternal Elements brought to you by Test Online. These are audio programs and podcasts on international business. We're talking about theories of free trade. We discussed Adam Smith's theory of absolute advantage. We discussed David Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage. Absolute advantage is all about a country that specializes in producing a particular product or service should be exporting that and importing what it is less abundant in. Whereas David Ricardo talked about the process of exports and imports, where he said that wherever you have a comparative advantage, that's what you should export, even if you have absolute advantage in everything else. Well, then we had a very interesting phenomenon happen. We had Hecksher and Ohlin coming up with a theory called the Hecksher-Ohlin theory. The Hecksher-Ohlin theory is also called a theory of factor endowments. It's also a theory of factor proportions in international trade. The Hecksher-Ohlin theory in economics talks about comparative advantage again in the international trade. It's a 2 into 2 into 2 model. That means there are two countries, there are two commodities, and there are two endowments of factor production. So, there can be two countries, there can be two commodities, products or services, or there can also be two factors of production. Now here, the factors of production taken are typically capital and labor. Now, a particular country can be relatively plentiful in labor or plentiful in capital. Now, whichever factor you're plentiful in, you will export using that particular factor. And if there is a factor that is relatively scarce, you will tend to import that. That means a capital-intensive product will import labor-intensive products, while a country which is labor is relatively plentiful and capital is relatively scarce will tend to export labor-intensive products. This is how import-export happens. This theory was developed by Ohlin and Hecksher, which fetched them the Nobel Prize for Economics in 1977. This is how the current international trade happens, where typically the workers are in plenty, they tend to offer their skills, and where machinery and equipment exist, they tend to export the technology, and that's how things work in today's world. These are the three popular theories of international trade that we discussed: the Adam Smith's theory of absolute advantage, David Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage, and Hecksher-Ohlin theory of factor of endowment or the factor of proportions theory. This is Niket signing off from Eternal Elements brought to you by Test Online. We have discussed all the theories which are popular theories in international trade, and now we shall move into the interesting aspect of international business in the next podcast, which is the history of international business. Thank you very much. This is Niket signing off from Eternal Elements. I'll see you in the next podcast.